The Russian parliament, or the state Duma, has voted to suspend Moscow's participation in the New START nuclear arms treaty with Washington. The swift action came after the chairman of the Duma accused the U.S. of creating global chaos by not honoring commitments on security issues. The New START was the last major pact between the two countries, which limited their deployed strategic nuclear arsenals. Russia and the U.S. possess nearly 90% of the world's nuclear warheads. Putin proposed the suspension of the treaty during his Tuesday annual State of Nation address, stressing that Moscow has been forced to take such a step. That is because he said the West plans to inflict a strategic defeat on Russia and to claim its nuclear facilities. Fred Weir is a journalist and political commentator who joins us. Fred Weir, are you surprised at the fact that Russia made this move at this point? Of course, Putin did make or give an explanation behind why he decides that this is absurd, based on how the U.S. wants, I guess, Russia's nuclear facilities to be inspected.
It didn't come out of the blue, that's for sure. The whole arms control process, which Russia inherited from the Soviet-American relationship, a whole network of treaties has been basically on death row for years, and most of the main treaties were more or less rescinded by the United States. Some of them quite unilaterally, like the anti-ballistic missile treaty 20 years ago. The intermediate range missile treaty a couple of years ago, the open skies agreement. All of them have basically fallen by the wayside, and this was the last one. It is a dismal thing that, as a signal, as a sign of where we're at. It's very, very unfortunate, because it's not just a treaty to limit these death-dealing weapons of destruction. It provides channels for communication, for verification, hold regular meetings to discuss the security environment. There was a whole thicket of you might say bureaucratic mechanisms that went with it, that all have the effect of enhancing security and providing crisis management should some accident or misunderstanding crop up. So the fact that the Russians have suspended, not pulled out, but suspended their participation is a sign of very great displeasure on the Russian side.
Are you a bit surprised, or did you question why it was this particular point that was picked up by the media, highlighted, really made it very bold, to reflect on the speech that Putin made in order for there to be a distraction from a bigger picture, which would take some blame or fault away from the U.S. actions when it comes to Ukraine?
I'm not surprised. One thing that I suppose should be said here is that all of the sanctimonious things being said by Western leaders, and particularly Americans, about how dangerous and destabilizing it is for Putin to take this step vis-a-vis the New START treaty. Just as I said, the shoe was on the other foot several times in recent years, where the Americans unilaterally not just suspended, but pulled out of arms control deals. And there was not so much hand-wringing then. They had their reasons. I feel sad that Putin did take this step, because it is destabilizing. But his point is that the Americans are basically fueling a proxy war against Russia, and they're maintaining this stance that we'll deal with the Russians on matters that are favorable for us, beneficial for us, and not deal with them on other matters. This pick and choose approach to Russia, I think, really irritates Russian foreign policy specialists that I know, and I think they're reflecting the feelings of Russian leaders that the Americans can't do this. You can't just pick and choose for how you're going to relate with us. Uh, and so he did this, but it is a bad signal, and nobody should be like celebratory about this.
Okay, thank you so much for your input. Fred Weir, journalist and political commentator from Moscow. Many thanks.